Hi everyone! So I wanted to take you through the rest of the poetry journal today. And remember, you don't need to work on more than one poem a day. There are a lot of different poems, so you might, if you are feeling tired of writing poetry, just pick a few that you want to include in your poetry journal. There are a lot of different options. So I'll take you through the rest of them today, and then you can choose which ones you want to do, and please do all of them if you want to. So the first one is an animal poem, and we're going to be thinking about the sound that that animal makes. So on the top of your template, you'll just see the, and then you fill in the name of an animal. So Ms. Demos decided to write about a frog. This template is a little hard to follow, so I actually wrote this whole poem out. So I'll show you how it works. So the frog. You think of a sound that the animal makes first. So I said ribbit. Went the, and then I think of a word to describe the frog. So I said went the green frog one day. And then you can choose the same word and the same adjective, or you can choose a different word. So another sound that frogs make is croak. So I wrote croak went the slimy frog. Ribbit went the green frog one day, and he went ribbit, croak, ribbit. So basically you're just filling in sounds and adjectives to describe the frog. So you would choose your own animal, a different animal, or it could be a toy or something else that makes noise, and then go ahead and fill out this poem. The next poem is you are going to choose an animal, and you can decide to tell us what your animal is, or you can make a choice to have us guess at the end what the animal is. So I just wanted to show you how to fill in the spaces. In these first spaces, you should use a word like her or his or their. So a word like that to tell us about your animal. Or you could use the animal's name. So you could say, like if you were writing about your dog, if I was writing about my dog, I might say Tucker's eyes are like, and I wrote here, blue gumballs. So you're going to think of an adjective or two to describe what the animal's eyes are like, ears are like, nose is like, feet are like, and fur is like. This next poem, it'll be blank at the top, but you'll see these sentence stems. My hands are like, my hair is like, this is all about you. So Miss Demos wrote her name at the top. You would write your name at the top. And in this poem, you're thinking of adjectives or creative ways to describe your body parts. So this first line says, my hands are like creative machines. So that's just a way that I described my hands. You could be more literal. That means actually say what your hands are like. So you could look at your hands and say, my hands are like wrinkly, or my hands are like smooth pebbles, or however you'd like to describe your hands. My hair is like wispy grass. And then I would go on to describe the rest of my features. The next poem is all about smell, and there are actually two templates for this. So I decided to choose a nice smell and then a not so nice smell. So you would write what the smell is at the top. So some examples of smells would be sweet, stinky, greasy, spicy. Yeah, those are some different examples of smells. So for this one, I chose sweet. And then you would write out different objects or items that smell sweet. And then on the bottom, it says all smell, and you put the word that they smell like. They all smell sweet. So just to give you an example, I wrote sweet, freshly baked cookies. And then I would go on to write other things that smell sweet. And I would do the same thing with my opposite of that poem, which is stinky. So I wrote rotten eggs smell stinky, and then at the bottom it says all smell stinky. The next one is an acrostic poem. We've learned about these before, and the word is chips. We all like chips, so you can write words that describe chips. Really try it. We've talked about this before with acrostic poems. I know sometimes it's tempting just to write random words that start with those letters, but really try to choose a word that would go with chips. So for example, for C, for chips, I might not write the word clap, like I clap my hands, because that doesn't have anything to do with chips. But I might write crunchy, because chips are crunchy. So you'll fill in the words for chips. And then this next template is just imagining that you were riding on the back of a snake, and you would write a poem that starts like this. When I ride on the back of a snake, and then you get to fill in the rest of the poem. I said, I feel like I can fly, and then I would keep going, but you get to choose how you want to fill in this poem. There are 2 more templates. So this first one is if I were a, and you would either write about if you were an object or an animal. So I said if I were a slinky, do you know what a slinky is? It's like those little toys that you can stretch out really long and let them tumble down the stairs. So I said if I were a slinky, I'd feel flexible and silly. And then I'd write a few more ways that I'd feel, and then I just repeat that line again. In poems, we've talked about this before, but in poems, there's a lot of repetition that happens. So that means a lot of words in poems are sometimes repeated. So they're said again and again. So here on this template, it says, if I were a slinky. So I'd repeat the first line that I had in the poem. And then finally, there is a blank template for you to create your own poem. And you can feel free to create as many poems as you'd like. You can just use blank paper. And if you feel inspired by one of these templates, but you want to do it a little differently, you can also use a blank piece of paper. This poetry journal is for you to be creative with, and you don't need to use every single page. You can add more pages if you want to add more. It's really a time for you to be creative. So I hope you enjoy continuing to make your poetry journal, and I hope that at the end of the week or whenever you're finished, you'll share it with me. Thank you.